Welcome to Reflection as a Learning Strategy for Trainers. My name is Brenda Craner, and I have developed this presentation for trainers who are interested in implementing new strategies for retention and growth in their program participants. I've been in the field of training and development for 25, 28 years, somewhere around there. And I've been teaching in academic environments for the past 19. My training and development experience includes designing and delivering employee and leadership development programs for all types of industries, small, large, not-for-profit, for-profit, municipalities, both union and non-union organizations. These organizations hire me to develop the leadership skills of their employees, and they want to see a return on their investment. As a result, I am constantly challenging myself to find efficient ways to improve retention and the transfer of new knowledge to the workplace. Learning through reflection involves students thinking about what they've read, done, or experienced and relating it to their own lives to make meaning out of the material. Reflection, when facilitated properly, puts the responsibility for learning on the student. It allows the student to become aware of internal thinking processes, their motives, values, and allows them to link the learning to benefits. The challenge. Well, as a professional in the training and development field for over 2 decades, I have seen radical transformations from technology as it relates to talent development to organizations competing for top talent, or quite honestly, just trying to stay in business. In the 90s, organizations would send their employees away for up to 5 days at a time to develop their leadership skills. Slowly, clients were asking for 4 days, then 3, then 2, then 1 day. How about a half day? And now we want these micro-learning modules that deliver the same results as we got in the past when we sent our employees for 5 days. So the expectations for the learning professional can certainly seem unrealistic nowadays. As a result, we are forced to continually explore how to improve how we deliver training programs. How can we design training programs to increase the retention and application of information, no matter how short or how long it may be? During this session, I will share a few strategies you can use to incorporate reflective learning into your existing workshops. Reflective learning is a process where an individual responds to a lived experience and cognitively reviews and explores the experience in such a way as to create and clarify meaning in terms of the self. Reflective learning has the ability to contribute to an individual's growth and self-awareness, self-actualization, and the development of new knowledge. Reflection learning calls upon a number of cognitive activities that lead to stronger learning. The first one is that of retrieval, being asked to recall newly learned information. The second one is elaboration, which is connecting new knowledge to what the student already knows. And the third one is generation, which is rephrasing key ideas or mentally rehearsing what you would do differently next time given a similar situation. Reflection is widely discussed in the literature for its contribution to learning and has done a great job of enhancing the learning that occurs during experiential experiences. Harvey, who's a researcher in the field of learning, identifies 3 main purposes for reflective practice: academic learning, lifelong learning, and skills development. As educators, we need to know where our students are, meaning what do they know already, and we need to know the capacity our students have for reflective practice, and then plan our courses accordingly. At the conclusion of this presentation, you will be able to identify reflective learning activities, determine where reflective learning strategies could be applied in your existing workshops, and then design a reflective learning activity for one of your workshops. A way to consider looking at reflection as a learning strategy is to view the strategy through the lens of Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy is a classification of learning objectives within education. It represents levels of learning, if we could say it that way. Now, there are certain reflective questions associated with each level that you could incorporate into your workshop or your classroom. So the first level starts with knowledge or remembering. So questions related to what did I do? What did I learn? What did I hear? What did I see? Sometimes you can ask students to draw a picture that represents, for example, an active listener. They would list ways to communicate non-verbally that you're listening, verbally that you're listening. The second stage is comprehension and understanding. So what was important about the information we learned? So a question to students may be, what were 3 aspects of active listening that stood out to you? What specifically resonated with you and why? Then the third level of a learning is the application level. So you're thinking and considering questions such as, can you apply active listening in your job? Or describe how you could apply active listening in your job. Design a strategy incorporating the concepts presented. The next level of learning is analyzing. So, do I see any patterns? Are there any themes that emerge when we discuss active listening? Can I compare these concepts associated with active listening to what I currently do? And then you've got the final level of learning, which is evaluating. How well did I do? So, how well do I currently demonstrate active listening skills? Which of my colleagues excel in active listening? And if so, how? And then the final stage is creating or a synthesis. What should I do next? Type of reflective question here would be, create a plan to incorporate active listening into your conversations with employees. Create active listening reminder cards to put around your office. So let's talk about what you can do to incorporate reflective learning strategies into your existing workshops. 3-2-1 is a technique for framing anything from a pair share or journal entry. Ask students to write 3 things they think they know, 2 things they know they don't know, and 1 thing they're certain about regarding a topic. Consider a pre-assessment to a post-assessment as it relates to, let's say, active listening. Have students participate in a role play requiring listening before the material has been shared. Then present the material and have the role play participants do the following. 1, they list 3 ways they demonstrated active listening. 2, they list 2 things they could do better to demonstrate active listening. And 3, what is 1 benefit to active listening in the workplace? Whether you call them exit slips, exit tickets, asking students to briefly leave behind a thought, a definition, a question, it's a powerful teaching strategy. Asking students to share some reflection on the learning as they leave is fairly easy and can be informative for the instructor. Hand out Post-it notes for students to write their response to prompts on. Write prompts on the whiteboard or on a flip chart and then have them post them on the way out the door or before a break. For example, prompt questions could be, what did you find most interesting about whatever your topic was? How did your understanding of whatever your topic was change today? What about this topic still confuses you or makes you curious? I'm sure many of you are familiar with Twitter. Challenge your students to tweet about their experience in the classroom. 140 characters forces students to reflect quickly and get right to the point. Students don't have to be creative to draw what they think they know or how they believe their learning has changed as a result of the information presented. Challenge students to interact with new information through the creative expression of drawing. For example, put students in small groups and have them draw a picture of an effective leader and a picture of a poor leader. This is asking them to retrieve what they know or have experienced as good leadership and poor. These drawings can be referred back to throughout the class, building on what they contemplated before the class started. This may also allow an emotional connection to the material, so if parts of the drawing were connected to a personal experience of theirs. So when emotions are tied to new information, the learning is actually stronger. It's one of the reasons storytelling can be so powerful. Sentence STEM-based responses or prompts students can complete that spur critical thinking. They can be as simple as I learned or more thought-provoking, such as the values most consistent with leadership are. So examples, I learned, I relearned, I wonder, I plan to. You can also create prompts in Qualtrics, a survey software, and generate a QR code students can scan and immediately respond to anonymously. This gives you data to review and highlight at the beginning of the next class. Students can use their smartphone to create a podcast. Using podcasts as a reflective strategy, students can talk about their learning while recording. In my Strengths Finder class, I have students create a public service announcement regarding their top 5 strengths and how they would contribute to a job with a prospective employer. This gives the student the opportunity to demonstrate their knowledge and understanding of the information and how they can apply it to a real-world situation. Critical incident journaling is a type of journal entry focusing the student on analysis of a particular event that occurred during the week. By answering one of the following sets of prompts, students are asked to consider their thoughts and reactions and articulate the action they plan to take in the future. So, some of the questions could be, describe a significant event that occurred as a part of your leadership role. Why was this significant to you? What underlying issues, societal, interpersonal, etc., surfaced as a result of this experience? How will this incident influence your future behavior? And how might the material we are discussing in class help you with the situation? Directed journaling asks students to consider how they specifically connect with the material. For example, a quote regarding ethical leadership may be shared, and then the students are asked to respond to the following questions in a journal. What has been your experience with an ethical leader? How did he or she make you feel? What has been your experience with an unethical leader? How did he or she make you feel? How do you view yourself as it relates to ethical? What are some examples? Where are your strengths? And where are your areas of opportunity? Quotes are a useful way to initiate reflection because they are plentiful, readily available, brief, and inspiring. Quotes may be used in a variety of ways. You might give each student a page of quotes and ask them to pick one that fits his or her experience with leadership and then explain. Case studies give students the opportunity to analyze a situation and gain practice in applying new knowledge they are gaining. This reflection strategy can foster the exploration and clarification of values, behaviors, and attitudes. Small groups can write a case study of a leadership challenge they've experienced. The case study should include a description of the context, the individuals involved, and the controversy or event that created the situation. The case studies are given to other small groups to discuss and apply the leadership concepts. This challenges them to retrieve the information they have learned and apply it to a situation. So, this is a question I would like you to take a few minutes pondering and then write your responses on a piece of paper. So, considering one of your more recent workshops, what do you think you should keep doing? That's the neutral sign, flat. What should you stop doing? That's the X. And what should you start doing is the check mark. 3 questions. What should you keep doing? What should you stop doing? And what should you start doing as it relates to incorporating reflection in the learning aspects of your courses? Now that you've written your ideas down on paper, it's time to take action. What one reflection activity will you incorporate into an existing program or one that you're soon to develop? How will you make it happen and by when? Now, share your commitment with someone else and ask them to follow up with you prior to your deadline date. Thank you for participating in this workshop. I hope you found some helpful takeaways that you can begin using right away.